If you're over 60 and you're waking up 3, 4, 5 times a night to pee, this video can change your nights and your days. I'm Dr. Camila Vega, a urologist who spent more than 15 years treating older men, and today I'll walk you through 5 simple, evidence-informed daily habits that reduce nighttime trips to the bathroom, lower the pressure on the prostate, and help prevent the kind of leakage and urgency that turns into frustrating incontinence. Stay with me. There's one habit most men blush about, but it really does make a difference. First, a very short primer so the rest of these tips make sense. The prostate is a small gland that sits just below the bladder and surrounds the urethra, the tube urine flows through. As men age, the prostate often grows, a condition called BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. When the prostate enlarges, it narrows or compresses the urethra and can cause weaker flow, a sense that the bladder never quite empties, the sudden urge to go, and frequent nighttime awakenings we call nocturia. Those symptoms aren't just annoying, they steal sleep, reduce energy, and quietly erode quality of life. None of what I'm about to share promises a cure or a guaranteed prevention of disease, but research and clinical experience show these 5 daily habits can reduce symptoms for many men and lower the factors that lead to worsening bladder control. Let's start. 1. Strategic hydration. Drinking the right amount at the right times reduces bladder irritation and cuts down nocturia. It might sound counterintuitive. Shouldn't drinking less solve nighttime peeing? Not exactly. Dehydration concentrates urine, and concentrated urine is more irritating to the bladder lining. That irritation can trigger urgency and more frequent trips. The practical approach is steady, strategic hydration. Aim for regular sips throughout the day so your urine stays light-colored, and decrease fluid intake in the 2 hours before bedtime so your bladder has less to hold overnight. For many men, a simple rule works. Spread most of your daily fluids between waking and late afternoon, and reduce intake after dinner. If you typically wake several times, try stopping most drinking about 2 hours before lights out, and if you must drink in the evening, choose small sips rather than large volumes. A study looking at patterns of fluid intake and nocturia reported meaningful improvements in nighttime frequency when patients adjusted timing and volume of drinking. In some trials, clinicians have seen up to around a 40% reduction in nighttime trips with disciplined fluid strategies combined with other behaviors. That doesn't mean everyone will have that level of change, but modest, consistent shifts often help, and they're low risk and free.
Practical tips. Keep a reusable bottle and note how often you finish it during the day. Set a gentle alarm to remind you to sip every hour if you tend to forget, and mark a last big drink cutoff, often 2 hours before bed. If you take medications that require water, work with your clinician to time them safely. 2. Short walks after meals. A 10 to 15-minute gentle walk after main meals does more than help digestion. It improves pelvic circulation, reduces post-meal glucose spikes, and can lower local inflammation. Better blood flow to the pelvic tissues helps the prostate and bladder clear metabolic waste and reduces congestion that can worsen urinary symptoms. There's also a clear link between regular physical activity and better urinary symptoms in older men. This is a tiny habit that compounds. After breakfast, lunch, and dinner, get up and walk for 10 minutes at an easy pace, around the block, down the hallway, or even marching gently in place while you wait for the kettle. Over weeks, men commonly report longer stretches of sleep and fewer urgent awakenings. You don't need long runs or a gym membership. The goal is regular movement that raises circulation and improves glucose handling after meals. If walking outside is difficult, chair-based marching or standing and moving your legs for 10 minutes works too. If you have balance issues or a cardiovascular disease, check with your primary care provider first, but most patients can safely add this light activity and benefit from it. 3. Regular ejaculation. Yes, really. This is the habit that surprises most men, and it deserves the straightforward clinical explanation. Frequent ejaculation, whether with a partner or alone, appears to help the prostate by clearing prostatic fluid, reducing stasis and local inflammation, and improving pelvic blood flow. Large cohort studies have shown an association between higher ejaculation frequency and a lower risk of prostate cancer, and clinical discussions suggest regular sexual activity can relate to fewer lower urinary tract symptoms in some men. One well-known study observed that men reporting ejaculation frequencies around twice a week or more had a lower long-term risk of prostate cancer than men with less frequent ejaculation. Importantly, these are associations, not proof of cause and effect, and sexual activity is one of several lifestyle factors that may influence prostate health. Clinically, I present this as a neutral, evidence-informed option. If you're single or your partner has health limitations, masturbation is an acceptable and medically relevant means of regular ejaculation. There's no shame, only biology. There is no single prescription that fits every man. Some research referenced frequencies in the range of 2 to 3 times per week as associated with benefits, while other analyses used monthly measures. The message is consistency rather than an exact number.
If you have painful ejaculation, erectile pain, or bleeding, see your doctor. These are reasons to seek evaluation rather than to self-manage. Practical guidance. Consider what's realistic for you and your relationship, and aim for a routine that's comfortable and sustainable. This is not treatment for severe urinary obstruction, but part of a preventative lifestyle that can reduce inflammation and pelvic congestion over time. 4. A prostate-protective, anti-inflammatory diet. You already eat every day. Let food be part of the plan. Diets rich in colorful vegetables, good fats, and specific nutrients appear to support prostate health and reduce inflammation. Key items to emphasize include lycopene-rich foods, such as cooked tomato products, like stewed tomatoes, tomato sauce, or salsa, because cooking increases lycopene availability. Zinc, found in pumpkin seeds, nuts, and shellfish, supports prostate tissue function. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, contain compounds that may help reduce cellular stress and inflammation. Overall, aim for a plant-forward plate with lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats like olive oil, and reduce highly processed foods and excessive red meat. Research from multiple centers, including population studies referenced by institutions like Harvard and the International Journal of Cancer, suggests associations between diets high in certain nutrients and better prostate outcomes. In one line of research, men with higher dietary intake of lycopene or frequent consumption of cruciferous vegetables had lower markers of prostate inflammation or reduced risk in epidemiological studies. Again, this is about reducing risk and supporting tissue health, not guaranteeing prevention. Practical meal ideas. Add tomato-based sauce to whole grain pasta twice a week. Snack on a small handful of pumpkin seeds. Include a serving of steamed broccoli or a salad with mixed cruciferous greens most days, and swap half the red meat portions for fish or legumes. 5. Protecting sleep. Prioritize deep, regular restorative sleep. Sleep isn't just rest. It's when hormones that regulate inflammation and tissue repair are balanced. Poor sleep is linked in studies to higher systemic inflammation and worse prostate outcomes over time. When you consistently wake at night, the resulting sleep fragmentation increases stress hormones and inflammatory mediators that can worsen urinary symptoms and overall health. Improving sleep hygiene helps in 2 ways. It reduces the number of nights you wake because you're better rested, and it lowers the biological drivers that can exacerbate prostate and bladder problems. Practical sleep strategies include a consistent bedtime and wake time even on weekends, keeping the bedroom cool and dark, and avoiding screens at least an hour before bed because blue light suppresses melatonin. Limit caffeine and alcohol in the evening. Alcohol may make you fall asleep faster, but fragments sleep later and increases urine production. If you need to urinate in the middle of the night, keep lighting low and avoid stimulating activities to get back to sleep quickly. If you snore loudly, gasp, or wake exhausted despite seeming to sleep, discuss sleep apnea with your doctor. Sleep-disordered breathing is common in older adults and can worsen nocturia and overall cardiovascular health. Now, a few clinical caveats and red flags. If you notice blood in your urine, sudden inability to pass urine, severe pelvic or abdominal pain, fever with urinary symptoms, or a rapid worsening of symptoms, seek urgent medical evaluation. These are not issues to self-manage. If over-the-counter strategies and lifestyle changes don't improve your symptoms after a few weeks to months, schedule an appointment with a urologist for a personalized assessment. There are tests and treatments we might consider, but we choose them based on the individual picture, symptom severity, and your goals. I never promise a guaranteed cure. These habits reduce risk and symptoms for many men, and they're safe, low-cost steps most people can start right away. I want to share a few small real-world examples to make this practical. I had a patient in his late 60s who was waking 3 times nightly and felt chronically exhausted. He started with 2 changes, stopping drinks 2 hours before bed and adding a 15-minute walk after dinner. Over 6 weeks, he reported consistently sleeping through most of the night and feeling more energetic. Another patient who had long gaps between sexual activity and felt increasing urinary urgency began a modest, regular pattern of ejaculation and noticed decreased frequency of urgency episodes over months. Again, individual results vary, but the combination of habits made a measurable difference for him. How to put this into practice today? Pick one habit and commit to it for a month. Maybe start with the last big drink 2 hours before bed and a gentle 10-minute walk after dinner. Those 2 are easy and often yield rapid improvement. After a month, add a second habit, like a tomato-based meal twice a week, or a sleep routine with consistent timing. Think in terms of gradual buildup. Consistency matters more than perfection. Small daily changes stack up.
If you smoke, quitting is one more powerful step, not only for prostate and bladder health, but for cardiovascular and overall well-being. If you're on multiple medications or have a complex medical history, coordinate any major lifestyle change with your primary care physician or urologist. Before I close, a quick note about evidence. Throughout this talk, I've referenced patterns supported by clinical studies and population research from institutions like the National Institutes of Health, Harvard, the Journal of Urology, and other peer-reviewed sources.
Many studies report associations, meaning the habits correlate with better outcomes, while interventional trials show that targeted behavioral changes can reduce nocturia and improve symptoms in substantial numbers of men. One controlled trial of fluid management strategies and behavioral adjustments showed reductions in nightly awakenings for many participants, and several observational studies have demonstrated links between ejaculation frequency and lower long-term prostate cancer risk. These findings are encouraging that science evolves and individual results vary. Use these habits as part of a thoughtful prevention plan, not as a replacement for medical evaluation when needed. To recap, 1. Hydrate strategically. Steady daytime drinking and reduce intake before bed. 2. Take short walks after meals to improve pelvic circulation and glucose handling. 3. Understand that regular ejaculation, whether with a partner or alone, is a legitimate, evidence-supported habit that can reduce prostate inflammation and is associated with reduced risk in some studies. 4. Adopt a prostate-protective, anti-inflammatory diet rich in cooked tomatoes, cruciferous vegetables, and zinc sources. And 5. Protect your sleep with consistent schedules and good sleep hygiene to regulate hormones and lower inflammation. If one of those feels awkward, start with the others. You don't have to do everything at once. The goal is steady, sustainable improvement that protects your sleep, energy, and dignity. If you notice severe symptoms, blood in the urine, sudden trouble urinating, high fevers, or intense pain, see a doctor right away. For ongoing bothersome symptoms, make an appointment with a urologist so we can tailor tests and treatments to your situation. If this felt useful, please like and subscribe, and check the description below for links to the studies and resources I referenced. Pick one habit to start tonight. Set your cutoff for evening drinks, take that short after-dinner walk, or choose one dietary swap, and give it a month. Small, consistent changes can protect your prostate and help you sleep through the night again.